Welcome back to our channel. Imagine a dark and corrupt world where people long to connect with angelic beings. In this twisted reality, daughters end up having children with their own fathers. Today, we will explore the fascinating tale of Lot, a man who found himself in the midst of extraordinary events. Get ready to witness the judgment and divine anger that lead to the destruction of an entire civilization. Considering this, I kindly ask for your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. I invite you to stay with us until the end of this captivating story. Why did Lot's daughters engage in such an unthinkable act with their own father? The complete account of Lot can be found in the Bible. Lot's journey, as depicted in the book of Genesis, begins in chapter 11. This biblical character's story is shrouded in uncertainty, particularly regarding the meaning and origin of his name. Some scholars propose that it symbolizes the concept of concealing or presenting oneself in a favorable light before others. According to the Bible, Lot embarked on a journey after his father passed away. He left his homeland of Ur of the Chaldeans and traveled to Haran, accompanied by his grandfather Terah, his uncle Abraham, and Sarai. When Abraham left Haran following Terah's death, Lot chose to go with him to Canaan. They faced a severe famine there and decided to temporarily settle in Egypt. However, due to a deceitful incident involving Pharaoh, Abraham and Sarai were expelled, and Lot returned with them to Canaan. During this period, both Abraham and Lot experienced significant prosperity. Their flocks multiplied to the extent that the land could no longer support them both, leading to conflicts between their shepherds. The contrast between Abraham and Lot, as depicted in the Bible, lies in the fundamental choices they made when confronted with opportunities and challenges along their journeys. Abraham stands out for his obedience and trust in God's promises, which shape his way of life. His faith serves as a compass for his decisions, serving as a remarkable example of someone who prioritizes divine will over worldly interests. It is worth mentioning the episode of the 3 mysterious visitors in Mamre. While sitting at the entrance of his tent under the oak trees of Mamre, Abraham suddenly becomes aware of the presence of 3 men before him. The intensity of the account implies that these visitors possess an extraordinary nature, prompting Abraham to prostrate himself in reverence. In this moment, he displays exceptional hospitality, inviting them to rest and offering water to wash their feet, as well as food to replenish their strength. During this encounter, something remarkable and life-changing occurred for Abraham and Sarah. One of the visitors shared a surprising message. Despite Sarah's old age, she would conceive a child around the same time the following year. This divine promise echoed an earlier one where God assured Abraham of having countless descendants, as numerous as the stars in the sky. The story of the visit in Mamre not only showcases Abraham's exceptional hospitality, but also reveals the close and personal relationship between God and his faithful servant. In contrast, Lot appeared to be increasingly swayed by worldly temptations and enticed by seemingly prosperous opportunities. This led Abraham and Lot to decide to part ways. During their separation, Abraham graciously allowed Lot to choose the land he wanted to settle in first. Abraham's choice to separate from Lot, aiming to maintain harmony and avoid conflicts, highlights the spiritual maturity of this patriarch who values peace and communion with God over material disputes. Lot opted for the fertile plains near the Jordan River, closer to the Dead Sea and the city of Sodom. He was captivated by the region's beauty and abundance, succumbing to purely material considerations. This decision, understandable from a human standpoint, exposes Lot's vulnerability to the allurements of the world, in contrast to Abraham's unwavering spiritual resolve. After the separation, Lot made his home in Sodom, where he quickly became entangled in local affairs and appeared to have achieved a prominent social status. However, according to the Bible, the people of Sodom were incredibly wicked, which greatly troubled Lot. In the New Testament, the Apostle Peter speaks of Lot's continuous suffering as he witnessed the evil that pervaded the city he lived in. While Lot resided in Sodom, a battle broke out in which the kings of Mesopotamia triumphed over the cities of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar. In this conflict, Sodom was plundered, and many of its inhabitants, including Lot, were taken captive. When Abraham learned of this unfortunate event, he organized a rescue mission. Under the cover of darkness, Abraham's forces engaged the enemy army in a fierce battle and successfully reclaimed Lot's possessions. It was during this extraordinary event that Abraham encountered Melchizedek. Despite the ongoing war in Sodom, Lot made the decision to remain in the city, and his story continues to unfold in the pages of the Bible. The narrative progresses with the arrival of angels in Sodom, a city consumed by chaos and immorality. The presence of the divine amidst such corruption emphasizes God's concern for human wickedness, aligning with the message conveyed in Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 4, which underscores God's attentiveness to the cries resulting from injustice. This situation echoes the biblical theme that God is watchful and prepared to take action in the face of evil. The Lord expresses his intention to investigate the sins of Sodom, showcasing his justice and rejection of wrongdoing. However, upon witnessing the extent of the city's depravity, God decides to destroy it. The narrative highlights the wickedness of the people of Sodom, particularly evident in their treatment of the angels. The sinful behavior of the men in the city, desiring to engage in sexual acts with the angels, stands out as a primary reason for the city's impending destruction. Amidst this turmoil, Lot attempts to appease the situation in a controversial manner by offering his own daughters to the men of the city, revealing his weakness and the detrimental influence of the city on him. It is at this point that the Bible delves into Abraham's bold intercession before the Lord, demonstrating a genuine quest for understanding divine justice. Aware of the imminent destruction of Sodom, Abraham dares to question God about the possibility of sparing the righteous alongside the wicked. This bold conversation reflects the message conveyed in James chapter 5 verse 16, emphasizing that the prayer of a righteous person can have a powerful impact. The narrative continues with the courageous negotiation between Abraham and God, as Abraham questions whether it is possible to spare the city because of the presence of righteous individuals. Psalm chapter 86 verse 15 captures this sentiment by stating, "But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness." This declaration highlights God's willingness to listen to the pleas of his servants and his readiness to show compassion in response to heartfelt intercessions. The story not only portrays divine compassion, but also underscores the significance of persistence in the pursuit of justice and mercy. As God made the decision to destroy the cities of the plain, including Sodom and Gomorrah, before the destruction of Sodom, a significant event is recounted in the Bible. Lot and his family were rescued by two angels sent by the Lord. This rescue was made possible by divine mercy and God's commitment to the covenant he had established with Abraham. Faced with the persistence of the people of Sodom in their pursuit to capture the angels, the men were struck with blindness. The angels then commanded Lot to take his family out of the condemned city. Though Lot hesitated, the angels firmly guided him out of the city. During their escape, the family received a warning not to look back. However, Lot's wife disobeyed this instruction and was transformed into a pillar of salt. This astonishing transformation serves as a symbol of the consequences that arise when we disregard divine guidance. Lot's wife being turned into a pillar of salt vividly illustrates the moral outcomes of our choices. Lot, even though saved from imminent destruction, is not exempt from the moral repercussions of his actions. His decision to dwell near Sodom exposed his family to a corrosive environment, highlighting his struggle to maintain moral integrity amidst pervasive corruption. Lot's struggle mirrors the challenges faced by Christians today in societies where values contradict biblical teachings. After leaving Sodom, Lot and his two daughters sought refuge in a small city, fearing for their lives. They took shelter in a cave in the mountains, revealing a hesitancy to fully trust in God's plan, a contrast to Abraham's unwavering trust throughout his journey. Even in the face of uncertainty and difficulties, Lot's choice to seek refuge in a cave represents the human inclination to isolate oneself when confronted with adversity. The cave symbolizes not only physical protection but also emotional and spiritual seclusion. This raises questions about how traumatic experiences can impact one's ability to fully engage in life and relationships. In that place, a tragic event unfolded, causing Lot's daughters to fear for their safety. Concerned about preserving their family lineage and feeling isolated without any prospects of finding husbands, they devised a plan. At a certain point, Lot's daughters intoxicated their father, and, lacking a proper understanding of moral and ethical norms, each slept with Lot on consecutive nights in an attempt to conceive children through this incestuous union. From these unions, Moab and Ben-Ami were born, becoming the ancestors of the Moabites and Ammonites, respectively. These peoples would later pose various challenges for the Israelites throughout biblical history. the Bible continues Lot's narrative, shedding light on his complex and controversial relationship with his daughters after the events in Sodom. However, beyond this point, the story of Lot remains shrouded in uncertainty. It is unclear whether he managed to rebuild his life, or if he spent his remaining days in the mountain cave where the events with his daughters took place. It is worth noting that the Apostle Peter refers to Lot in his second epistle, specifically in verses 7 and 8 of chapter 2. This passage serves as another reference to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. In the New Testament, Jesus also mentions Lot in the Gospel of Luke, speaking of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot's deliverance within an apocalyptic context. This account serves as a reminder for the end times, emphasizing the significance of preparedness and obedience to God. The biblical narrative reveals that Lot had the opportunity to learn from Abraham, who is recognized as the father of faith. However, unlike his uncle, Lot did not choose the path of faith and instead allowed himself to be guided by his own perceptions and desires. This personal approach led to significant hardships and left a lasting impact on his family. Lot's story serves as a reminder of the outcomes that arise when we prioritize personal perspectives over faith and divine guidance. There are important lessons to be learned from this account that are applicable to modern Christian life. The narrative of Sodom and Gomorrah emphasizes the significance of making ethical choices even when faced with cultural pressures that contradict godly principles. In his letter to the Romans, Paul urges believers not to conform to the world's standards but to undergo a transformation of the mind, as stated in Romans chapter 12 verse 2. This passage highlights the need for present-day Christians to stand firm in their faith and moral values, irrespective of external influences. May Lot's story inspire you, and I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments and share this video with your friends and family. May God bless you. Until next time.